Hey everybody, this is about the Cayin N3Pro. This is the device comes with the, well, I ordered it with this case. We'll talk about that in a minute. Nice little device, feels really good in my hand. As for size comparison, this is the M11 Pro, and you can see that this device is smaller than the M11 Pro. And it's about the same as far as side to side. The width is about the same. Height and everything's smaller. Definitely feels very good in the hand. Very good in the hand. Typical for Cayin, kind of black and gold theme, and I actually really like it. It looks really nice. Same thing carried over to the bottom. They've got a 4.4 Pentacon style balanced connector, single-ended headphone out. Tubes only work on this output, just so you know. And this is your line out right here to out to like a device, like another amp or whatever. And this is your USB connection for charging, for using it as a DAC, that kind of thing. TF card goes in the side there. And that's it really. Then you've got your controls here. Reverse, forward, play, pause. Volume is up and down, obviously. And you can also, once it's on and after you've touched the volume, you can then move your finger up and down to change the volume. Pushes in to turn on and turn off. There's a couple other, like unlocking the screen, you just touch that in. I'm gonna say this knob here, it worked fine in all my testing. I'm gonna say it feels a little fragile, and I worry about it over long term because it kind of wobbles a little. Yeah, there's a little bit of a wobble in it, and it's good that they have these kind of supporting edges here so that if it can wobble only so much and then it touches those, right? So it kind of protects it, because I feel like if this hits something, like if you banged it on a table or something, if it didn't have these edges to kind of protect it, this could get broken off real easy. And I noticed that kind of right away. The screen looks a little weird because, you know, I don't know if it comes with this or not. In the box is, and I did an unboxing video, it comes with a plastic case that kind of just fits around the frame, doesn't really cover front or back. And then I noticed on the ground when I was kind of picking up stuff after I did the video, I noticed this screen protector laying on the ground. But I did an unboxing for something else too, and I don't know if this is the screen protector came with it for this or with that. So I don't know if the screen protector came with it. I just happened to stick it on there. I thought, why not? Let's protect it. And it's got some bubbles. It's not the greatest screen protector, and it gets fingerprints really fast. So ignore that. I don't know that it actually comes with that. The device is kind of sharp on these edges. Not really sharp, okay? They're still rounded. They're comfortable. And on this side here, very rounded, so that your finger moves easily across that without any catch on there. Again, it's tiny. I'm not tiny, but it's small. It's nice. I really enjoyed this thing. Look, so if you guys have ever seen the Little Bear tube amp, we can put it side by side with that. So it's not the same width, yeah, and it's exactly the same height. And it's not nearly as thick or as tall. So it's a nice device. I mean, they've got the gold writing on the back, on the back, Cayin N3Pro, and some other information. Yeah, really, really like it. As far as, you know, aesthetics and how it feels in my hand, it's very comfortable and it's very hefty. I ordered this case with it, and this case is, God, it's just beautiful. I really love this case. I don't like green things typically. I'm not, you know, it's not one of my favorite colors, but I mean, this is beautiful. It's got this golden hue to it. I don't know what they call that, but it's like, and it's got this metal insert that's very soft. It's like, in other words, they've like, you know, sanded this or burnished it so in a way that, you know, there's no sharp edges. So it's there, it's metal, but yet it feels soft. I don't feel it catching my skin at all. Inside is nice and soft. Fits easily into that case. Clean it one more time. In fact, let's get this out of the way so you can see that green better. I'm gonna go up here. So I got my new macro lens so we can get up really close here. Maybe you can see that kind of golden tinge to it. And it's just like, yeah, really nice. So on to sound impressions with this device and how I tested it. I tested this with all my headphones. I tested it with several IEMs, including the new Blonde 01. Yeah, Blonde 01, which I'll be doing a review on those as well. I'm going to tell you, I really like this device as far as sound quality goes. And I'm going to do a direct comparison with the M11 Pro. And that may not be completely fair because this is, when I bought it, a $700 device that's now gone down in price. But, and this is like $449 or something new. So, but I feel like they're in the same category and have a lot of the same features, except this has tubes in it, which is really why I got it. It really intrigued me because I don't know how much, if you're just new into this hobby, you may not have, you're not looking at older stuff. You may not even know about this little bear, and you can still get this thing on Amazon. And I love this tube amp. It's one of my favorite devices. I think I got this thing for like $59 or $49. I got it super cheap on, I think I got it on Amazon. Yeah, and it was so cheap. And it's not even the balance. They have a new model that's like $99, the Little Bear X, I think it is, and that one's got a balanced output, and it has 2 op amps instead of 1. And I did swap the op amp in here for a Burson, so it's got an upgraded supposedly op amp. This only lasts a couple hours before it starts to really lose out, and also when you turn it on, if you've got your headphones in, you're going to be in trouble. At least on mine, when I turn this on, I get a loud pop like instantly, and even when I turn it to the down to go off, but not even off, the minute it touches the off position, it's like a pop 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 crack. And so I've got to like make sure I remember to pull my headphones out because it can be a little bit shocking or painful when that happens. Plus, I don't know if it's good; it might damage the IEMs. But so anyway, other than that, like my favorite sounding little tube device, this has a very, very tubey sound, which a lot of tube devices don't nowadays because there's a lot of digital technology and they add the tube and they don't really change much. But with these, this is the only digital in here is the op amp, and everything else is just run through those tubes. So it's got a very tubey sound. That I brought that up because this has tubes in it, and so the screen, and I'm going to turn it on really quickly just so you can see. You press this in, and it comes on. It says, "Never be the same again." It's their slogan for this device, maybe for the company. I don't know a lot about Cayin. It comes on, and then it gives you a screen like this. And the screen actually extends to right here to where my finger is touching. And this is something that a lot of people may not catch. It took me a little bit. I was trying to figure out how do I set some of the settings on this, because if you pull down from the top, a settings menu comes up and you're like, okay. So I started searching in this, but you can't, that's all there is what's here. There's no screen that you swipe right to left on. That's it. But if you scroll up from the bottom, another little thing pops up right here, system settings and music settings. And that's where some of the settings are for like upgrading the firmware, which I did, that kind of thing. Right here is a little window that you can't see until it's on, and that's where the tubes are. So when you're plugged into here and you turn here and you touch tube, it turns on the tubes. And it'll actually, a little window pops up, and I'm going to do another section of this video in just a moment where I get very close up to the screen so you can really see it. And the tube section comes on, and it says, preheating tubes, and then it counts down from like 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, okay, and then the music starts. I'm going to tell you that I really only listen to this, not only, but most of the time I spent listening with the tubes on. I didn't really like the way it sounded with just pure digital. And with the balanced output, it's very powerful. I could easily drive my focal clears on the balanced output. And I even drove it on the 3.5, but not as nice as it was with the balance. And I've got a little adapter, and that's how I was able to do it. The same thing with most of the other equipment. The balance has a much higher, it's almost double the output, the wattage output. So, but I mostly listened on the 3.5 because I wanted to hear the tube sound. The digital sound, in some aspects, was a little too clinical for me. I didn't feel like it was musical, and I listened to the same IEMs and the same headphones that I listen to all the time. So, and I actually put them side by side with the file as a test. I started both songs, and I just plugged in, plugged out, plugged out, plugged in, plugged out, plugged in. I kept doing that, going back on songs, and really listening for detail and tonality and that kind of thing. This device has an elevated bass and elevated highs. Songs that I was listening to for detail, and we'll start with that. The same ones I always listen to, which is the Cara a la Pared from The Truth About Charlie. I used the Pink Floyd On the Run. I used Cecilia Strange, jazz music, because the way it's recorded, you can hear incredible detail in cymbals and snare drums and that kind of thing, and also in horn instruments. And I can tell you that this device pulled detail out fantastically. The Cayin, I could hear every bit of detail on every song that I wanted to hear. So detail, no problems with that. Detail retrieval was excellent on this. And even in the tubes, which, so a lot of devices, if you run through a tube device, a tube amp or whatever, you can lose detail. Tubes tend to pull that out. Not always, but a lot of times you can definitely hear the difference in the way the details are presented on a tube versus, straight digital. So detail-wise, this was great. Highs were good, cymbals sounded good, all that. I mean, and really that's more a function of the IEMs you're listening to or the headphones, basically the speakers that are developing the sound. But definitely this affects that signal, right? And I'm going to tell you that for sure the bass on a lot of songs was very boomy on this, and I didn't particularly like it that much. I like the device. Don't get me wrong. I listen a lot to this device, and I'm gonna keep it. I don't think I'm selling this or anything. I really liked it, and I like having that tube. But when I switched to digital, I just didn't really like the music I was listening to on digital. Almost always I kept it on the tube, and I liked it a lot better. Now, the one thing I also did was I put this on digital, and I connected it here to listen to these tubes. And I'm going to tell you, these tubes have a very tubey sound, which is what I expect over these. The tubes on this had an effect, but not nearly the same effect as this. And I didn't lose detail. That's one of the things I like about the Little Bear, is that when I plug devices into this, I still am able to maintain detail in songs. It doesn't get washed out. So, just so you know, right? And then the Little Bear hooked up to the file honestly sounded totally superior to this device. Yeah, just superior. Now digital, straight digital, the file sounds better. The file is more musical in my judgment. But just working with this, I did enjoy it, and I listened a lot to it. Like I said, some songs, the bass was too boomy. Some songs, the bass was just too boomy, and I didn't like it at all. And a lot of songs, though, the mids were very nice. The mids are elevated or exaggerated, if you want to call it. And I felt like the way they tuned this was they kind of exaggerated everything a little bit. And I had some weird things that happened. Like I went in and turned the equalizer on because this has an equalizer, and okay, good, it's shutting down for power saving. I thought I'd turned it off already. When I turned the equalizer on, it sounded horrible. I don't know what they're flat. So, and that's an interesting aspect of this, is that it sounded really good, and I enjoyed it like most of the time. I didn't feel, I don't know if I would have felt ripped off with that $400. I didn't really feel like that. I felt like, yeah, it is worth that because it's got the tubes in it and the whole thing. But when I turned on the equalizer, and the equalizer set it flat to start with, right? So I turned it on, and I'll show you that in the close up, it suddenly sounded horrible. Like it had no body. It was very thin. It just sounded terrible. So and even when I tried playing with the equalizer settings, it didn't sound good. I couldn't get it to sound like it sounded when I had the equalizer off. So I left the equalizer off and I didn't play with it. I tried to basically remove the boominess on the bass on a few songs, like Beyonce's Lemonade album. Way too much bass using this device with the different IEMs I was listening to. I didn't like it at all. On the headphones, it was a little bit less because the headphones are a little bit harder to drive. So I think that it wasn't able to overpower that driver the way it can on an IEM's dynamic driver. So on headphones, it didn't sound as loud and boomy, the bass, but it still was exaggerated. Some people are not going to like that. Some people, especially audio purists, they're going to want a more of a file M11 where it's more of a flat studio type of a sound, but still slightly musical. This is not that. Just get that up front. And I like the device. Like I said, it's a beautiful device. It seems well made, and it sounded really good. It didn't sound great. I don't know. I mean, I want to say I can recommend it, and I think it's really going to be very individual on the taste for this. Because it is elevated in treble, in mid-range, and in the bass. The EQ for me just didn't work at all. It just made everything sound terrible. And there's a couple other weird instances with that. In fact, let's get into. I'm going to get the camera dropped down and closer to this so you can really see the screen, and we're gonna do that. Okay. So this is the home screen, and so you touch that, and it turns back on. And you got to swipe up. So this is where you scan for new music if you add music. You can go straight to it. I put a TF card in, and you can just go right to the TF card, and you can just scroll through your folders and look for your music. You can click on Scan Music, and that'll scan the TF card. OTG is the connection out to another device, right? To use this as, say, a DAC, or to use it as a USB DAC for your computer or for another device. And then after you scan music and you've got everything, come on, go back. Then you can do things like artist, right? Or now the weird thing is, this is the operating system and the functionality. It's actually very quick. I didn't have any issues. There was no lag, and I did like that about it. But this is where there's a weird kind of lag. So you see the album art here, but not up here. And if I scroll down, you see it pop in right there, right? Now, if I scroll, you'll see more album art pop in. And there was album art up there, right? When I go back, okay, that one's still there. Oh, but see, that one popped back. So it's like the album art only displays and is maintained dynamically at the moment. It's not like kept in memory. Sorry, let me get this focus is going weird. I think because of the lighting. All right, so it's not maintained in memory where the album art always shows. So it's just grabbed dynamically as you're scrolling through. That's kind of weird. I just assume they not even have album art. It's so small, it doesn't really matter. Let's go back. So you can do artist, album, and it's the same thing. The art pops up a little quicker on album for some reason. I don't know why. You could see the other ones here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Now, if you're in the screen and you want to go to system or music settings, you scroll your finger up, and here we've got system settings. And you've got stuff like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And I'm going to give you some advice if you do get this device. This is one of the things that I didn't like about it. I turned on Wi-Fi because I wanted to test some functionality and also Bluetooth. When I turned on Wi-Fi and I was listening to music as I turned it on, it suddenly went and it got really choppy and then stopped working, and then the device rebooted. So I don't know why that was. And I tried it a second time. I thought, maybe something was going on. No, the same thing happened. When you turn on Wi-Fi, if you're listening to music, the music starts getting really choppy and then just stops, and then the device reboots itself. I don't know why it does that. I think it's a bug of some kind, but and it actually hurt my ear. It popped a little bit. You may want to be careful with that. Don't have your IEMs in there when you're listening to music and you switch it to Wi-Fi. Bluetooth also was a little weird. There's a little bit of popping, and I thought it was okay, the Bluetooth, but I didn't really like it that much. It felt a little scratchy to me as well. Sorry, I should have done some with the settings on that. language, time, all that kind of stuff. Font size, which for me I like because my eyes aren't that great. You know, there's some more settings in here. I didn't play with too much. I switched around with the DAC a little bit. In fact, let's go back here. Let's go back up. So now music settings. Now in music settings, you've got play mode, Dsd output. I will say it's one of the nice features is there's a little light down here. And when you're playing, depending on what you're listening to, whether it's MP3 or it's 24-bit or it's DSD or MQA, this changes color to tell you what is being listened to, like to what bit rate you're playing at. So let's go back up. Music settings. Dsd output. It's got all the typical stuff. I played around some of this. Replay gain. It's got that. It's got gapless playback, which I like, and that worked really well. I didn't have a problem with that. Album art, if you want to display it or not. So you could turn that off so that you're not displaying album art, and then you don't have that lag. And then now if you pull down from the top, you get this menu. And with this menu, you've got your gain setting. And I'll tell you, this has 3 settings in gain. It has low, medium, and high. And it works really well. And there was stuff I needed to have, like I was listening to some headphones and I'd go put it on high gain and great, worked fine. Tube, in fact, let me plug in some IEMs because you need to have these plugged in to do this, okay? Of course. So let's play a song. Just play this. Yeah, just play it. Play. There we go. And it's playing, and you can see the tubes are warming up. Okay. Oh, shoot, I was out of screen, wasn't I? Let me redo it. Let's pause it. Let's play. So I'm going to switch now. It's playing right now. I'm going to switch from tube to solid state or digital. Still playing. There's really all it does if you're listening is it just kind of like a little bit of a chunky sound, like a little jump, and then that's it. It's fine. Ultra linear only comes into play when you're listening to tubes. Now, if I switch back to tube, you'll see it says warming up the tubes, preheating them. And for a second, boom, it starts playing again. Now we can come back in here and we can change from ultra linear to triode. There was a difference between those two. Triode and ultra linear, they felt a little narrower on the triode. I like the ultra linear. Ultra linear was what I listened to mostly. I found that to be the most pleasant to me. I don't know if YouTube can hear this. Let me stop. I don't want to get demonetized or whatever you call it. So let's go back to the settings. USB output, idle switch or idle shutdown. You can turn that on or off. I leave it on so that way if you're not playing, it saves battery, it just shuts itself down. This thing will play for about 9 hours in tube mode. Now, I didn't play it for 9 hours, but I did play it for like a couple hours and I left it playing and it worked. There was no shutdown and the battery only was about 45% drained. So that worked really good. Like I said, on the gain setting, we can change to low, medium, and high. It has DSD output. You can modify the way that works. Brightness on the screen. Now, let's say we're playing a song. Let the tubes warm up. And you can probably see now, right here, the light from the tubes. Right, so there's 2 tubes in there. And this is the volume, turns it up and down, and it does that. And then once that's done, you can move your finger up and down to change the volume. Right? So let's pause that. And then you can see that this is playing in 24-bit mode because it's yellow. And when I turn it off, it goes away. But you can see that the tubes are on. And like I said, I really liked this in tube mode, and that's pretty much all I listened to and I found that to be the most pleasing. And when you're on the front screen like this, and a song has been played or is in paused, it'll show right here. Sorry, again, we're losing a little bit of focus. So let's go back to wider mode here. Okay, so in conclusion, And I hope this video has helped you a little bit if you're thinking on buying this or on the fence about it. I think it's worth the $400. There's a lot of technology in here. It doesn't have a big screen, and it doesn't have a lot of graphics like the Fio has. I don't miss that at all. I actually really liked it. It's much faster than the Fio on the interface. I think because there's less graphics and because they've got more of a customized system. I don't even know it's Android. I'm guessing it is, or I don't think it's proprietary, but it might be. I don't have any problem with the interface. I really liked it. Very easy to operate. I like this dial right here. It's very comfortable to use, and I can use it one-handed very easily. Same thing with the buttons. Very responsive, works really well. Case is nice. Both the case that it's, it's like some kind of a machined aluminum. It's really nice, really beautiful. The case that you can order with it, the plastic case that comes with it's fine. You don't even need to order this case, but this case is... Sorry, my camera overheated and I had to kind of shut it down for a little bit. So back to what I was saying. Functionality and usage, yeah, it works great. But, it's a very nice device. Audio-wise, not everyone's going to like it. I can tell you that right now. Like I said, bass, treble, mid-range is all elevated on this thing. In the tube mode, I liked it, and it sounded good for most songs. I did get sibilance on a few songs, which typically you'd think is a feature of, the IEM or the headphone or the speaker that's driving through. But I did get sibilance on this, and I plugged over to the Fio thinking, do I hear that on the Fio as well with the same IEMs or same headphones? And sure enough, I didn't hear it. So for some reason, this did create a little bit of sibilance in some songs. Not on everything, but just sometimes I would hear it. I didn't like the digital mode. I didn't think it sounded good. It sounded dead to me, and I didn't like listening to it at all. I don't know that it's worth $400. I mean, and I say that because the Fio BTR5, which I bring up a lot, but that is a freaking fantastic sounding device. The Fio BTR5, and you do, which is $105, and you do line out from here to the Little Bear, which you can get for like $69 or something on brand new. You can get on eBay or even cheaper, used. And you don't have to do the burst and upgrade. I only noticed a tiny difference, the slightest difference with this, and on some songs. Most songs, I couldn't hear any difference with the change in the op amp. But, so and the tubes in this are real tubey and sound really good. Like they expand the stage and the bass sounds better, and the guitar picking sounds echoey, and it just sounds wonderful on this thing. So, $100 here, $60 here, a little cable, you would just do this. You plug this to this, like so. You could actually, there's a rubber band right here. You could clip it through there and just have it like that. And then plug your headphone here, control your volume here. And this sounds 30% better than this. Sorry, I don't like putting things down that, I'm not putting this down. I like this device. I like that it's compact and it has the tubes in it, so I don't need to have a separate device. It was a little buggy when I turned on the Wi-Fi. I told you it rebooted. I did upgrade to the latest firmware 2.0. Ultralinear tube mode sounded good. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I definitely was listening to it a lot. It was my device I used for about a week straight. Going back to the Fio, there's things I like better on the Fio, sound-wise, but I do enjoy the tube sound in this a little bit. The tube sound is not nearly as exaggerated as it is on the Little Bear, which is why I'm saying for this $165, $170 with tax maybe, this combination is actually superior to this sound-wise only. This you're gonna futz around with a couple different things, but sound-wise superior. So it's up to you. You could buy this and listen to it, and maybe you'll really like it, or you can send it back, I guess, and say you didn't like it. I don't know what the return policies are on. As I think it's Linsol's the only place I found this. Maybe I'm sure there's other places. Pending Audio probably has it. I've done a lot of business with them. I like working with them. you can find it on Amazon, but it's coming from one of those guys. It's not an Amazon stocked item. So yeah, I liked it, but I don't know that it's really worth the $450 you're going to pay for it. I think you could do better with your money, but you know, that's my opinion. You might actually like this device a lot. I didn't like the digital mode. I liked it tube mode only. That's the only way I was listening to it, because the digital was just dead to me. So yeah, so I hope this review helps you a little bit. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. As far as comments go, I try to stay on top of that. It can be a little tricky sometimes trying to stay on top of the comments. And sometimes people come in and watch a video, you know, weeks, months after I posted it, and they make comments on it. And I'm not really looking at the old ones. I do go back occasionally, maybe once every week or so, I go back and look at older video comments and see if there's something I've missed, but not always. So if you have comments, make sure you make them right away. And even on older stuff, you can ask those questions in my current video. That's fine. Okay, well, I hope this helps you a little. You guys have a great holidays. Bye.